Hi, welcome to my channel. It's me, Gorgeous Gold, coming on to do the Attracting a Life Beyond Your Dreams video series. So this one is going to be the top 10 life lessons that I've learned along my journey, things that I've been taught through the different experiences that I've found myself in, which has been a number of them. I feel like, to be so young, I've lived a very eventful life. So with that being said, I'm not going to waste any time. We're going to go ahead and jump in. I do want to always start every reading or every video off with asking the universe to protect us all. Place a giant golden bubble around everyone that tunes into this video. Fill that bubble with bright white lights, 3 golden rings, and violet flames. May it shine so bright that nothing negative may ever attach. All right, guys. So here we go. Lesson number 1 that I feel probably is something that I've struggled with the most, and also the most important part of the journey. Boundaries are key. I feel like I talk about boundaries in pretty much all of my videos, or at least I kind of touch on them a little bit, because this lesson has given me it's given me so many difficulties, like actually setting boundaries, sticking to them, honoring them, understanding boundaries, understanding why I have specific boundaries, and just kind of really boundaries as a whole concept. And so what I have learned is, over this cycle, I've had a lot of relationships, and it doesn't have to be romantic. It could just mean in general, but I've had a lot of friendships. I've been married. I've had relationships, and I'm a person that I'm loyal to the soil. So any people that are in my life, I'm riding for them. And I have not always received that same type of energy back. So because of that, as I've kind of evolved, I have been guided to let a lot of relationships go. And doing so, it's really actually easy. So once you set the boundaries, you have to make sure that you honor them yourself, because nobody else is going to honor something that you don't honor, and they're your boundaries. No one's going to defend you better than you do, and I actually touch on that later on in this video. But really, they're your boundaries. So you have to know, like, clear things for you that are just no-nos. Like, if somebody does this, you cannot tolerate it. You have to speak up. You have to stand up. And for a person that doesn't really like confrontation, setting boundaries and sticking to them was very hard. Also, I have that disease to please, which I know a lot of people that are going to resonate with my readings and my videos, they have the same thing. It's where we may have experienced, we may have not experienced love, or that feeling of acceptance, and because of that, we want to make everyone else feel accepted, make sure everyone else receives and feels that love. And that'll put you in some situations where your boundaries are crossed, but because you are non-confrontational, or because you don't want to hurt somebody else's feelings, you'll just let shit slide. That is a large, giant no-no. And that is something that I've been working on healing within myself. No is a complete sentence, and it is 150% necessary for you to say no when the answer is no, and for you to say yes when the answer is yes, and for you to act and behave in a way that makes you feel good. Ultimately, when you do something that does not feel good to you, or is crossing your boundaries, or you allow somebody else to cross your boundaries, those are the moments when we think about it for months, weeks, years, sometimes even later. Like, damn, I should have said something then. Why live off of should-haves when we can literally say no right then and right there. When the answer is no, say no. If you have clear boundaries and someone crosses them, you can let them know. And one thing I am learning, and that I have learned, is you can be very firm on your boundaries and be very clear on them without being rude or disrespectful. Because that'd be the thing for me. I didn't want to come off as like an asshole. I didn't want to be like, oh no, I don't want that. Like, so I'm not that type of person. So I'm learning that when I have my boundaries, I can speak with love and still have my boundaries be respected. And now, as I've evolved on the journey, it used to be I have these boundaries, somebody crosses them. And when I first started my journey and really started getting into it, if someone crossed my boundaries and I wasn't really sure how to communicate it, I would just let that shit build up. Then I'd say little things to them like, hey, that really bothered me when you do something like this, or blah, blah, blah. But I wasn't really firm on it, because they could do it again and again and again. And then it'd end up building up in my heart and my mind. And now I'm at a shutdown. I'm an INFJ, so I really haven't been too into personality tests and stuff lately, but that was what I got when I last took one. So they have something called the door slam, and that's when you just kind of allow somebody to keep tiptoeing on your boundaries, and you may say little things to them, give them little warnings, but they keep doing it, and then you just reach that point of the door slam where you don't want to talk to them, you shut them completely out, you never speak to them again. That is what I used to do. Which I'm not saying that that's not a bad thing, because some people, it is very necessary for you to close the door, lock every lock, and add the little chain lock to make sure that that's not on there. But that's not always necessary. Sometimes it's up to you to just communicate with the person. Hey, I've already discussed this with you. Because sometimes, more than likely, a lot of times, people don't even realize that they're actually crossing the boundary in that way. Like, their intention may not have been to push that boundary for you, but if you don't speak about it, then you don't know. Some people, that's not the case. But again, if you don't communicate it, you don't know. So when I first started my spiritual journey, and when I first started setting boundaries and being clear on them and shit like that, if somebody did something I didn't like, boom, I'm not talking to you, like, I'm cutting you out. I just have to delete you, block you. I'll send them a message, let them know, like, I love you, this and that, but I've got to block you. Now, not to say I still don't do that. That is if I am called to. But a lot of times now I'm able to communicate, hey, this is what I feel. You're messing with my time. You're messing with my energy. You're disrespecting my energy. You're disrespecting my time. That's me telling you directly what's going on. So if you do this again, if it starts to become a repeated problem and you're just continuously ignoring me when I'm being very direct with you about what my boundaries and my expectations are, then your place in my life can no longer be. So it's about using discernment, but really just using your voice, because it's hard, to sometimes let people down, but it's even harder to let yourself down. And I'm learning it's you or it's them. And it's me or it's them. And I pick me every time, because I am the only person that I'm guaranteed to be with for the rest of this lifetime, no matter what. So I'm not going to continue to violate myself to make other people feel good. So, number 2, it is okay to make mistakes. I'm a perfectionist, so I want to do everything right. And I know a lot of people are that way, but I'm I want to be the best girlfriend, the best friend, the best daughter, the best sister, the best friend, everything. I want to be the best at everything I show up as. And because of that, I found myself in a lot of situations that I really didn't need to be in, because I overexerted myself. A lot of times, that might be volunteering to do something. I used to overbook all the time, and Josh, my husband, or my ex-husband, he would always tell me, you need to make a schedule and stick to it, because you want to do too much for too many people all the time, and then you are running around on a Saturday like a chicken with your head cut off, pissed off because you volunteered to help this friend move, take care of that friend's child, go to the store and pick stuff up for this friend, and then do this and that. And then I find myself feeling upset or sad when no one's returning these favors that I'm doing to them. And it was just really not in balance. And a lot of times that was me. I was doing things for people that they never even asked me to do, but because I was a nice person and I want to be that best friend and I want to show up for everybody, boom, now I'm over here throwing myself into shit and volunteering into stuff that I cannot handle or manage or balance. And even with work, being a teacher, I literally would try to show up to work early or try to support all these kids, do this on my own, make sure my parents were happy, blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the day, when I was done, I would feel like crap and exhausted, beyond exhausted, oh my goodness, why did I do this? And so being a perfectionist and having that kind of mentality, you make a lot of mistakes as well, but the mistakes hit a perfectionist much harder than they would hit somebody that is aware of the fact that life is about making mistakes. So it's about teaching yourself, for one, it's okay not to be the best at every single thing that you do. And also, you can be the best, but for you, not for anybody else. For 2, it is okay to make mistakes. Mistakes are going to happen. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. The whole point of the human experience is to make mistakes and learn from them. So as long as you're continuing to learn how to be better, mistakes and obstacles are detours in the right direction. They really are. I've never made one mistake that I regret in this moment. I can honestly say that I lived my life even as a perfectionist, I used to always regret things like, damn, I wish I could go back and fix this or change that. And I realized, no, like the older I get and the more experiences I have, I realize how every single step had to happen that way. Like, oh wow, but if I didn't make that mistake, then I wouldn't have learned this and blah, 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 blah. And I wouldn't be able to even sit and teach the things that I've learned if I hadn't made certain mistakes. And also, those mistakes that I've made have placed me in a lot of different situations and in a lot of different roles, which honestly made me a more understanding person. There's pretty much anything you can tell me. Or there's, okay, how do I want to say that? I'm talking too fast. There is pretty much nothing that you can tell me that I will judge you about, because I've been around a lot of people. I've also been in a lot of situations that I never thought I would be in, or found myself on the other end of a lot of different situations and scenarios. So therefore, the mistakes have made me closer to my life purpose. The mistakes have made me realize that I am human. And a lot of times, yeah, I made mistakes really that could have been avoided altogether. Either one, I was trying to people please, or two, I was trying to be so perfect that I ended up fucking something up anyways, which is super counterproductive. So I'm learning, like, it is okay to make mistakes, except that you're going to make mistakes and learn from them. As long as you're learning from them, then you're accomplishing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, and you are exactly where you need to be. So that's number 2. It is okay to make mistakes. Number 3, always follow your first mind. My grandma used to say this all the time, and as a kid, I never understood it. I'm like, what does your first mind mean? You only have one mind. But it pretty much means always follow your first thought. If you feel it in your spirit not to do something, then do not do it. If you feel in your heart that you should go over to this river or whatever, then do that. You know what I'm saying? I have a slight example from my own personal life. Well, really, I have a lot of them, but this one's just recent and it just popped in my mind. We were at the casino, and I really do not like to gamble. Well, I guess in that aspect. In reality, we're always all gambling. That's what life is. So that's irrelevant. That's super deep, but it is. So we're at the casino. I finally found something that I liked. Normally, if we go to the roulette or we go to the slots, I suck at them. I don't really like to read it. I'm not a video game person. I just don't like it. So I never liked the casino. But this time I went with my grandma and my best friend, and I ended up getting on the roulette table, and I love it so much. It's fun. I don't know. It's fun. It's exciting. So my grandma, she's never played on the tables, and she's an avid gambler. Like, if you know her, my grandma gambles. She loves to gamble, but she's always on the slots. So she came over to the table because she's seen that I'm doing good. I'm like winning money. And then mind you, this is my first time. So I'm just like, like sitting there doing that. So she comes over and she's like, I want to put all my money on 26. But then she kind of hesitates, and my best friend was over at the end of the table, and so he didn't put all of her chips on 26. 26 ended up being the exact number that it landed on, that the little ball landed on. And she's like, damn. I'm like, right there. Always follow your first mind. That was a tiny example, but the truth of the matter is that really is the reality of life. Like, most of the time we know exactly what to do. We have an inkling of it and we don't honor that. It's like we silence what we know to be true, and then we end up regretting it later. So one thing that I've learned that's very, very important is always follow your first mind. I can look back and count on my hand in like 5 seconds how many times that doesn't make sense. I can look back in 5 seconds and come up with like 10 to 20 different scenarios where I wish that I would have followed my first mind, because in turn, things wouldn't have happened the way that they did. But again, that kind of goes into number 2. It's okay to make mistakes, because if I didn't not follow my intuition or follow my first mind, I wouldn't be able to know that actually is the truth. I wouldn't be able to know that that really, if I would listen to myself more and what I feel in my heart and with my intuition, I wouldn't find myself in certain situations. And so I wouldn't be able to tell other people that and hope that they're able to learn something from it. So number 3, always, 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 always follow your first mind. Number 4, it is okay to love and let go. Oh my goodness. I have struggled with this so hard. I have abandonment issues and attachment issues and codependency issues. I feel like they all go hand in hand. But I had PTSD of abandonment. I have PTSD of abandonment, but I've been healing this for the last 4 or 5 years. So the effects of it are decreasing, and I'm very happy about that. So, anyways, I had trouble because of my past letting people go. I want to hold on to every connection that I have. If I tell you I love you, I want you in my life forever. I want you to be there when the success comes in. I want you to be there when this and that was happening. But what I realized over these years is that not everybody was meant to go with me. And as I'm evaluating my life right now, because I've had, since moving to Kansas, now I live in Missouri, but since moving to Kansas in 2016, I literally have nobody that I used to talk to from my past. I could count on my hands, like 3 to 4 people that I talked to from my past, from Colorado, my home. And I feel like it was piece by piece, bit by bit, and they were all falling off. And it was people that I swore I would never lose. Like, these are people that I thought I was going to have forever. And I feel like I talked about this before in a video. But the truth of it is, it's not easy to let people go. And sometimes you feel, especially if you have abandonment issues, you feel, 1, like you're being abandoned, and 2, like you are abandoning them. So a lot of times you'll hold on to connections or relationships that you've outgrown, because you do not want to let that person go. And a lot of times, or sometimes, that person may not have even done anything to you, but you just know in your spirit that that relationship no longer serves you, or they've done a lot of things to you, or around you that you're not in alignment with any longer, or that you never were, but you just were keeping it. Relationships are very complex, and it's very, it's a difficult thing. It's something that we will have for the rest of our lives. You're always going to have different relationships, regardless of if it's just with a mailman or whatever. But the truth of it is, they're very complex. They're very complicated. They're things that we go our whole lives having different ones. And I can say with all confidence right now, there has never been a relationship that I've let go of that I regret. In the end, every time I've released somebody, someone else that is in alignment for me in that exact moment presents themselves. And it's not to say that they will be around you forever, but in that moment, these are the people that you need to surround yourself with. And as you're evolving naturally, everyone's not evolving with you. And you have to make the decision. Once again, is it you or is it them? Is it me or is it them? If someone doesn't feel right within your spirit, then it's time for you to let them go. And just start aligning with things that are. And you can do it with love. That's the thing. Like, I always used to think, like, damn, if you let somebody go, it has to end all dramatic and all this drama and chaos. Like, I hate you. Fuck you. Blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't. I've been releasing people more than I would like to even say right now. I've released pretty much my whole entire, like, everybody from my past. I put that on everything. Like, so many people, but I do it always with love, and I let them know I love them. And the thing is, it's very sincere. They may not believe it, and I can't make them believe anything, but I know my heart, and I know that I'm doing this because it's in my best interest for me, and also it's in the best interest for you, because in one way or another, I'm providing some kind of crutch to you or doing something that's stunting your own growth, and it's preventing you from getting to where you need to be getting. Or if you're deciding to stay where you're at, I don't want to be a part of that, because I'm not staying where I'm at. I'm evolving, and I'm going to keep evolving and continue to attract relationships that are evolving. You'll know when it's time to let somebody go, because you can't literally even sit around the person. Like, I've had people that I'm sitting at a table, and like, I'm going back home, for instance. I would go home to visit, and I would always text this friend from middle school. I'm having to find shit to talk about with her because I don't fit with her anymore. That's just not my life. It wasn't really in alignment with me. And it wasn't even that she was doing anything. It wasn't even that she did anything to me in that moment. It was just that I realized, for one, that I honestly, personally feel like we may not have ever really been friends, and that wasn't her fault, that was mine. But I feel like a lot of the relationships that I had, they were my friend because of what I was doing, not who I was, if that makes sense. So it's like, yeah, who wouldn't want to be friends with the yes girl? Who wouldn't want to be friends with the person that's always going to be there for you? But the truth is, friendship is determined about how you both treat one another. So it's even that. But if you're having to find points of topic or whatever, like, I would literally be trying to find shit that was negative in my life or very bad to go meet with her and talk about, which is like, what, like, I don't know. So really evaluate your relationships and know that if you've outgrown something, it's okay to love them still, but let them go. It's the same with clothes, you know. I love my clothes, but sometimes I get to the space of evolving, and now my whole entire style's changing. It is. So I'm going to have to let the outfits go that I love, but I'm going to attract some more that are in alignment with the evolution that I'm experiencing. Number 5. This kind of goes into number 4. It is good to see the best in people, but be sure to honor their truth. What this means, this is so important. So important. I'm a person that always wants to see the best in somebody. I mean, I will find, and everybody tells me this that knows me, I will find the beauty in anything. I can find the beauty in shit. And that's just the truth. Like, oh my goodness, but you're detoxing your entire body. I know it smells bad, but imagine the fact that those toxins were living inside of your intestines and your body smelled like that on the inside. Like, that's the type of person I am. I've always been that way. I've done that to a fault, though, because I've had a lot of people in my life that were not kind to me or were not treating me with the same respect that I was treating them with. But because I saw the beauty in them, or I saw the truth in them, or I saw the potential in them, I kept them around. And they were disrespecting my boundaries, stomping all over my shit, dropping things, doing this and that, not taking care of my cars, getting rides, not giving me gas, like just running over my life. But because they could do all that, you know what I'm saying? This was the type of person I was. They could do all that all week. But then Sunday, take me to get some Chinese food, all is forgiven. I'm like, oh my goodness, they are such a good person. They're really trying. They're making so much effort. They're doing this and they're doing that. When the truth of the matter is, this person is a leech, or they're doing this and that. And you don't say it in a judgmental way, but people are what they are or who they are. And some people in this lifetime are meant to be that. Everybody ain't you. Everybody doesn't have the same heart as you. Everybody doesn't have the same feelings and thoughts as you. If they did, we would all always get along because we would all be the exact same. And I had to learn that. Stop looking for yourself in other people. Honor their truth, and you can always find the love in them. It's not to say that you don't do that, because I still find the love in people, but I also have to honor them for who they are. And a lot of times, or sometimes, that means that they cannot have any room in your life. I'm starting to learn I am a butterfly. I'm not going to surround myself with moths. Not to say that anything is wrong with moths, but it's to say birds of a feather flock together. Like, you have to be with your own tribe. I'm a butterfly, so I'm not going to surround myself with moths. I'm not trying to go chew up people's clothes and stuff. I'm trying to fly around and spread love. So therefore, spread love and joy, if that's what I'm here to do, I cannot sit here in the house with moths looking for clothes to chew holes into. It's like, that's ultimately the kind of decisions that you have to make. And I just had to go through this, like, literally last night. Because I've lost so many people over the years, like, rather it be to death or losing them because I can't speak to them anymore or whatever. I've lost so many people that the ones that I have had, you know, that have shown me some sense of gratitude towards the things I've done for them or the ways I've been there for them, if they've reciprocated it even one. If I've given 10 but they've given $1, I kept them around because I'm like, well, I don't have that many friends as it is, so I'm tired of really cutting people off. And just last night, like, these lessons I'm telling you are things that I'm learning as we speak. This is actually what even inspired me to do the video, because I really had a whole epiphany, a whole aha moment. But just last night, I started to really take stock and evaluate specific relationships. And then I got to that space of like, wow, what the heck? This has literally been an imbalanced connection. It's been someone that they've shown me time and 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 time again. I'm talking about, I've known this person for 13 years. They've shown me for the last 13 years who they are. And because of the good that I want to see in them, and because of the good that they've shown me, you know, because it's in there, I've kept them around. But when I ultimately think of how they made me feel, or the things that they've said to me, or, you know, even the way that they've treated me as a friend, I'm literally like, wow, I couldn't even believe that it took me this long to catch up to where I'm at. Like, to catch up to the fact that the universe has been shown, like, this person can't hide who they are. They've been showing me their true colors, but I just refused to see it because I only wanted to see the good. And even when I did see it, I was questioning myself or trying to make it fit, just because I'm like, well, yeah, but they do this, but they don't do that to me. Or they do this, but, you know, they do also compliment me sometimes. And they were there for my grandma when I moved away, or this and that. And so you can love them, and you can honor their truth, and you can honor where they are. You can honor their journey, but you have to be real. You have to accept it for what it is. You have to call a spade a spade. You can love them, and you can recognize the potential and the good in them, but you have to call a spade. Because if you do not, you will look up and you will see that your whole life you were a butterfly surrounded by moths, and you just continue to allow them to be in your circle, draining you and chewing up holes in your wings and your clothes. So just always, Dr. Maya Angelou said it, when a person shows you who they are, believe them. Always. You can want to see the best in people, and you should, but also see the truth in what they are showing you. So, number 6, never dim your light. Oh my goodness. I just posted a picture on Facebook because I literally used to be so afraid of my natural hair and just afraid to just be me, to be honest. I'm goofy. I used to be so scared to go out and be anything. And a lot of times, every time I go out, anytime I go anywhere, and this is not even to be cocky, and see, even saying that is taking away from my plain character, really. But when I go out, people see me. Any room I walk into, I've always been just like a glow. Like, people just notice me as soon as I walk in the room. The attention's me, and I instantly want to dim my light. I try to find a corner, and I try to like sit and hide. And I remember my husband was telling my ex-husband, sorry, it's new, fresh. He was telling me, well, when we go out, you always get all the attention, so it's easy to be jealous of you. He used to say that, and I'm like, what the heck? Like, I don't want the attention. Like, I didn't ask for it. I didn't want that. But now I'm embracing it. And I used to try to dim myself even more so he could get that light, so he can get the attention, because I felt like he needed that, or he wanted it. And so I got to the space now, and it took me so long. It took me my whole life to get to this space. I am so confident. I don't care. Like, I walk in any room and I understand that that the attention's going to be on me, and that I'm going to walk in and people are going to see me because I carry that light. And it's my job to be a lighthouse. The universe wouldn't have placed a light this giant inside of me if I wasn't supposed to be a lighthouse to guide others to their light. But how can I be a lighthouse if I'm always turning my light off every time it's actually doing what it's supposed to do, attracting people to me? Oh man, I just thought of the symbolism of that, like being a lighthouse. And then I was just talking about moths. Like, moths are going to be attracted to you too. But either way, you can't dim your light out of fear. And maybe that's another reason why I was dimming it, because I didn't want to attract the wrong type of people, the wrong type of energy. But I'm really starting to realize, never dim your light. If you were meant to shine, then shine. That's just the beauty of it. That's your place in this planet. If you're meant to shine, then shine. And it took me so long to get into this space of confidence. And now that I'm here, I'm never going to let anyone else take that away from me. And I'm not going to dim my light anymore. It doesn't even feel good. It feels good now to accept who I am and to walk in a room, regardless of if my hair is combed or if it's, whatever. I just want to be me. And I even locking my hair, all that. I was looking at my first YouTube videos from just last year to now. Like, I'm always having braids in or this and that, or, you know, always trying to cover myself up. Even though I never wore makeup and shit like that, I tried to hide my hair. I tried to be, you know, I was just uncomfortable in my own skin. Even doing the readings, like when I first started them, I didn't even want to show my face because I was worried about what other people might say or think about me, or the days where I didn't look so pretty, or if I was too dark or whatever. I literally started off on some Wizard Kelly off of Proud Family shit, just like only see this part. Like, for real, I'm looking back at my old videos and I'm like, wow. And I was also worried about the amount of views that I was going to get. And I literally used to get more views than I do right now. And I'm still okay with that. I'm still pushing through because the universe put it on my heart, and the people it's supposed to reach, they're going to reach it. So I'm done dimming my light or being afraid of what anyone else in the world has to say about who I am. And I pray that I can guide other people to do that and find that within themselves. Never dim your light. It doesn't matter whose eyes hurt. It don't matter how afraid you are of it. It doesn't matter. Embrace who the fuck you are. And if anyone has a problem with that, that is their problem. Yes, when you stand your light, you are going to attract moths to it. Moths love the light. You're also going to attract other people that need the light. Like, you're going to attract other people that need to find that light within themselves. And they're like, wow, I made it to the lighthouse. Now I realize how to turn my own flame on. Oh, it was always controlled by this light bulb. Wow, now I know how to turn my own light bulb on and let my own lighthouse shine. Like, why would you even play with yourself or allow yourself to not be who you are? And also imagine how uncomfortable that shit feels. Because for me, having to go find a corner because I don't want to be the attention, that shit takes away from enjoyment when I want to go out and just have fun. Because now I'm really focused on what everybody else is thinking, and I don't want this person to be jealous because their man is looking at me, or I don't want this man to be looking at me because it's going to make my husband uncomfortable, or I don't want to make, like, no, that shit is unbearable to try to control all of that. I'm going to go in the room. I'm sorry. If your man is looking, that is your problem. That is his problem. That's him being disrespectful. I'm going to let you know you're beautiful and stand in your own light. Don't matter who's in the room. And it's just, I don't know. It's important. Don't dim your light. Don't be anything other than who you came here to be. And love yourself. And it don't matter what nobody else says at all, ever, really. In reality, if you feel good, if you look good, embrace who you are. Don't dim nothing. Walk in that room and be stared at. Be uncomfortable. If anything, when people smiling and staring, hey, like, bring the energy in there. Get a little twerking, do a little shimmy. A little shimmy. You know what I'm saying? If you're goofy, be goofy. I'm goofy. I literally am clumsy. I'm goofy. I used to be trying to walk into a room and go in a corner, end up knocking all the pencils or something down on the floor. So now they was already looking. Now they really looking because I'm so nervous. I done knocked everything off the damn desk trying to be unseen. Just be seen. Don't dim your light. Never, ever, 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 ever. All right. Number 7. You are your biggest advocate. This kind of goes into number 1 in reality. You got the boundaries. You can try to set boundaries, but then you don't honor them. Ain't nobody else finna respect you or listen to anything you're saying or honor anything that you're saying. So you are your biggest advocate. If you have boundaries and you have things that are in your body, your mind, and your spirit that you feel, and this is just what it is, you need to advocate that. And the same goes for if you have expectations or you want something. You are your biggest advocate. You have to stand up in whatever space and say, this is what I want. You got to be willing to take that. You got to be willing to ask. You've got to be willing to step up and be in your own confidence, in your own power. And I have a slight example of this earlier. I used to not always be this way, but I've missed out, I feel, on opportunities that I could have had waiting on somebody else to help me get in the door. Now, if I see the opportunity, I'm going to go do this, and it's either a yes or a no in reality. But I will really 100% regret it if I don't at least take the shot. So today I had an example of this, and it wasn't even for me. I was asking my best friend if he can help my brother get involved with some work, with, learning a trade. And he's like, yeah, but he sounded a little bit iffy about asking, his boss, or not his boss, but the person his teacher. So he felt his energy felt a little iffy about asking his teacher if he would be able to help my brother learn the trade. And so I'm like, well, I mean, if you don't feel comfortable asking, I'm going to be honest, like, I'm coming to you so you can ask, but I'm honestly end up skipping the middleman, just going in there myself. I'll add him on Facebook because it's 2021. You really can gain access to talk to anyone. And he's like, well, that's kind of disrespectful. I'm like, not really, you know. You miss 100% of the chances that you do not take. 100% of the opportunities that you don't shoot your shot at or try to make something happen, you're going to miss it. And in this case, it wasn't for me, but I'm trying to help my little brother out. So I'm like, why am I going to allow my brother's fate, what could literally be the difference between him gaining a trade and like changing his entire life, or him being stuck in the same situation? Why am I going to allow that to be controlled or in the hands of anyone else, regardless of if I trust you or not? It's just like, you know, you have to be willing to step up and take your own shots and be confident enough to just honor yourself. You are your own biggest advocate. And by advocating for yourself and standing up and being in that energy, you also are able to advocate for others. It's like your kids, everything. You know what I'm saying? Learning to speak up for yourself and honoring yourself and taking your own chances, it just automatically puts you in that vibration. And now you're brave enough to do it for other people. And a lot of times, which was crazy, I was learning to advocate for others before I learned to advocate for myself. I'm talking about, I've been going to parent-teacher conferences and shit for my little brothers way before I even reached this age. So I'm having to like sit in a room of adults at 18 and 17 and be a parent to little kids and advocate and tell the teachers what I feel that they need and this and that. And then I started doing it more on the outside. Like I went out to eat with my best friend and his order was nasty. And so I took the food back up. But the other day I was forced to advocate for myself at a restaurant, and I felt really uncomfortable doing that. But I still did it. So what I'm saying is just like start somewhere, but really never advocate for somebody else if you're afraid to advocate for yourself. You should always be your own best advocate at all times. That's just what it boils down to. There's a lot of moms out there I know right now getting cussed out or disrespected by their boss, but the second someone disrespects their cubs, their kids, they in there, they on them. Like, but you need to have that same energy for yourself, because in reality, you're your own biggest advocate, and you'll teach your kids how to do that for themselves by you doing it for yourself. So that actually goes into one of the lessons that I learned later too. So number 8, be mindful not to judge. Oh my goodness. So I've been praying to the universe, because this is something that I still did and it wasn't even conscious. That's the thing. Like a lot of times we don't even consciously realize that we're judging, but I asked the universe to release the need for me to judge not only myself but others, because I judge myself harsher than anyone else, I feel like. But I have found myself looking at certain people like, well, how come they can't see that what they're doing is mean, or blah, blah, blah. That's a form of judgment. And I don't want to be that person. And also and I do mean every single time that I have judged somebody, I have found myself on the other end of that, like doing exactly what it is that I was judging. And for a prime example of this that I have in my own life, and this is personal, but I really don't want to hide anything anymore. I would always judge people for cheating. Like I seen that so many times. I saw my mom get cheated on, or cheat and get cheated on. I saw my grandma, like I seen it so much as a child, and I always used to say, I'm never going to do that. I never want to be that person to do it. And then I found myself on the other end, caught in an affair, being the one that's cheating, and also being the person that, you know, being cheated on. I've been on both ends. I've been on all sides. And so because of that, it's allowed me to see and open my eyes in a new direction and in a new way to say like, wow, that was really big to even say that on YouTube. Like a little bit, I know I might not have seemed like it, but my heart started like do, because I don't want to be judged. But then I started to think that's the whole point of this video, to dim your light, not to dim your light, and to speak your truth. That's a part of my truth. That's a part of my story. So I have cheated. But being on that end of it, it helped me not to pass judgment, because now I see like most of the time a person's not just cheating. There's a lot of things going on within a relationship that are leading to this and that. Sometimes people just like to cheat, but in most cases, there's some lack either within that person or within their relationship or both. So being on the other end of that and learning that, I kind of got into the space of trying not to judge. And on a smaller scale, recently, like, I'll judge this or judge that, and I instantly pull back, like, oh no, I don't want to find myself on the other end of that. I ask the universe to just, release the need to judge. I want to see everyone through the lens of love. And to see through the lens of love means to see that you cannot judge. Because every time you judge somebody else, you're judging yourself. Every time you judge yourself, you're judging someone else. So judgment, who are we to judge? We all have been in so many different situations and found ourselves in so many different experiences. You really can't judge anybody in reality. And if you are a person that's just perfect and you've never done anything, more power to you. I would love to meet you so I can shake your hand and find out how you did it. But if you're a human being today, if you are a spiritual being having a human experience, I'm guaranteeing you that you've made a mistake. You've done something that was not of the highest vibration. And so to walk around and kind of even look at anyone else or judge them for their situation is bogus. It's ridiculous, and honestly just makes a fool out of us, because it's like, why are we even doing that? So just be mindful not to judge. Be mindful of the thoughts you have of others, and be mindful of the thoughts you have for yourself, because don't judge yourself. It goes into the other thing of it's okay to make mistakes. You can't judge you or anyone else for mistakes that they've learned. And a lot of times, like most of the times people have hurt you, they're not even hurting you. They're going through something within themselves. And so why judge somebody from evolving or going through whatever it is that they're going through? And that is really a big, huge lesson that I've learned. Now, that doesn't mean just be so understanding that everybody runs over you, because that was what I was doing too. Like trying to be so understanding and not judgmental to the point I was just accepting any and everything. You cannot judge, but also not accept shit in your life that you do not deserve or that is not of your highest good. Use your discernment, use your intuition, follow your first mind. All of these tips go hand in hand and hand like this. So, number 9, practice what you preach. This is key. I literally feel like I'm always advocating, especially to women, about self-love, self-care, stand up for yourself, set your boundaries and this and that. And then for a period, I was staying in a marriage that I was not happy in, and I was doing things that I was not in alignment with because I'm human. But I felt like such a hypocrite. Like, how can I be telling my clients to practice how can I be telling my clients to rise up and be this bomb-ass divine feminine, setting boundaries and speaking up for themselves if I'm still sitting in this little box? And how can I be telling other people to rise up in their light and show their muscles and be who they are if I'm still in a corner every time I go in a room like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. It doesn't work that way. So practice what you preach in all moments. You have to really be willing and able to stand up, rise up, and align to practice exactly what you preach. You don't want to be a hypocrite. You don't want to stand in front of an audience and tell them all this and that about not smoking cigarettes, and then as soon as you get off stage, you go to the back like, oh man, I'm glad I'm done with that seminar. No, always practice what you preach. Always. It's not to say you're not going to be human and make mistakes sometimes, or you might fall out of alignment, but you need to be cognitive and recognize that if it's something that you're going to teach somebody else, it's something that you should live by. And that is what I even feel with my kids, things like that, because I always think like, about the weed talk and shit and stuff like that. Like, oh my goodness, when I have kids, what am I going to tell them if they're like, oh, I smoke weed, but I want to smoke weed, blah, blah. I can't say, don't smoke, don't do as I say, not as I do. No, I don't want to be that type of parent. I want to be the type of parent that is going to tell my kids exactly what it is and what I feel about it and who I am. So if it's okay for me to do it, they're children, obviously. So I'm going to let them know, like, it's not of age right now for you to do it. But when you hit 18, I don't care what you do. I'm not going to judge you for going to get high. How can I if I'm going to do it? You know what I'm saying? I don't smoke that often, but it doesn't matter. I don't see an issue with it. So therefore, it's just practicing what you preach. I don't really ever like to be the person that's do as I say, not as I do. That doesn't even make sense. If you're going to tell somebody to do something, then you should be doing that thing too, or at least working to get to it, working to be at it. You know what I'm saying? I like that concept. It's kind of like AA and stuff like that. Like, they want another alcoholic to be your sponsor because that person drank too. So it's like you guys are keeping each other on track. And a lot of times that might be the only thing that keeps a sponsor on track is knowing that, like, damn, I can't sit here and help my people stay sober if I'm out here drinking. Or at least if they have integrity, then that's what they will be thinking. But yeah, so just practice what you preach. Live a life full of integrity. And if you're practicing love and telling other people what, like, this is what they should be doing, trying to guide other people and teach them, then practice that yourself. Always living your truth and practice what you preach. And last but not least, I think I have a bonus one for you guys too, because I have a little star by it. So we're going to call it 11 things. But number 10, ask for and accept help. Oh my Lanta. This is so complicated for me. It is so hard. I don't like getting help from people. I grew up with a mom that would anytime she would help or do something for you, she throws it in your face. And so that shit just triggered me to the point of I really don't want help from anybody. But I can't pass judgment on her because I've honestly found myself on the other end of doing the same thing, because it's like, well, I did this for you and you can't even do this for me. And then you have to pause like, but I didn't do this for you to do this for me. Now, it doesn't mean you go into relationships where you're just always giving, and somebody always is always taking, but you're not getting anything in return. That goes into your boundaries. But never give with the expectation of getting anything back in reality. It's like the concept of loaning money. Never loan money. Every time you loan money, you might as well just consider it a gift, because that person may or may not pay that back. So I just loan money with the expectation that I might not ever get this back. And although that might upset me a little bit, I don't know, actually kind of feel like it doesn't. Just because I don't know, developed the mindset of like, you might not get it back. So, but anyways, that's irrelevant. Well, it's not, but it is. So, accept help. Ask for help and accept help, because there are people that want to help. And even if you don't feel comfortable necessarily asking people for help, ask the universe for help, because I can't even explain how many blessings I've received, and all I've done is ask. Like, literally, oh my goodness, I can't do this anymore. I need assistance with this. I need guidance. I need support. I need wisdom, and I need my heart to be open to accept that guidance, support, and wisdom. And then the next day, just like magic. Like, literally. And I live by it now. And sometimes the universe is going to send that help in the form of another human being. So you do need to be able and willing to open your heart to accept help and to ask for it when you need it. Like I said, if it's hard for you to ask people, then just start off by asking the universe itself. Like, please help me, guide me, and support me, and allow me to open my heart to receive this help and assistance. But the truth of it is, there's a reason that they used to have those quotes like, it takes a village to raise a child, or Rome wasn't built in a day and it wasn't built by 2 hands, or something like that. I don't know if that second part's even in there. I might have made that up, but I feel like I heard it before. Who knows? Either way, the point is, you can change the world and you can accomplish all of your goals on your own, but it's so much easier when you have support. And honestly, I don't feel like you can accomplish all of your goals on your own, because we really don't do anything in this planet entirely by ourselves. Like, we may have accomplished things by ourselves. You may have finished school by yourself, by you doing the work, but you had a teacher to teach you the things. Like, that's what I'm saying. We always all need somebody. So you might as well go ahead, open your heart up and ask for help. Only a fool or only an ignorant person, in my mind. A fool, I feel, knows that they know nothing. I don't like the quote, like, only a fool believes they know everything. But no, I feel like a fool knows that they know nothing. That's why they're a fool. They're just going out and they're doing things. Even on the tarot deck, the fool has this little knapsack. He's about to jump off the ledge. Like, a fool knows that they know nothing. A fool knows that they're only beginning. They're always learning. So, and a fool knows that they need help. So I think in my heart and in my mind and in my spirit and my soul, it's really important for you to ask for and be able to accept help, no matter how hard it is. And honestly, if someone brings it up that they helped you, just trust and know that, okay, you did help me. So what? You did. And like, I don't know, you just have to be willing to let things go. But we all need somebody. And it's okay. It is. So be willing and able to ask him for and accept help. And even if you're not comfortable doing it from other people, then like I said, ask for help and support from the universe itself. And then a bonus, number 11. Accept yourself where you are and know it takes as many times as it takes. This goes into number 2. It is okay to make mistakes. Everybody has to start somewhere, and you can change your life from exactly where you are. You can just take one step at a... Sorry guys, my meditation alarm went off. But it doesn't matter if, you know, you're a 52-year-old woman and you want to go back to school. You can always change or do whatever you feel called to do at any point in your life. There's never a period where you cannot change or you can't do anything, and it takes as many times as it takes. Somebody might have to restart the same exact lesson over and over again, but it doesn't mean that you can't ever learn from the lesson. And so I feel like that's a key thing to just always remember and to always remind yourself. It takes as many times as it takes, and it is okay to begin where you are. Accept yourself where you are and decide if you want to make changes or if you don't. Whatever you want to do, know that it is okay and you can do it. With that being said, these have been my 11 most important spiritual tips and spiritual lessons that I've learned. I pray that this video brings somebody some clarity, some peace, some answers, some happiness, whatever, some guidance, some support. Please share this video if you think that someone else could benefit from it. I love you guys. Thank you so much for everything. Namaste and peace be upon you.